Hello everyone. We are at the end of chapter 1 now. This is the last concept of chapter 1 to learn about the structures and bonding, that is isomers. In isomers we are just going to look at constitutional isomers, which are skeletal structure, functional structure, and positional structures of it. Don't worry about the stereoisomers, that is its own chapter, so we will worry about stereoisomers later. We may actually touch conformational isomers in chapter 3, but right now we are just focused on constitutional isomers. So in constitutional isomers, we are going to look at skeletal, functional, and positional. So what is the difference? So first, let's look at the skeletal isomer. In skeletal isomer, whenever you have a molecular formula, and here I'm gonna use skeletal structure so it can be easier, like the bond line structure. So the first thing, C6H14, how can you draw this? So the first way to draw is like, in a straight chain. Remember, each end is one carbon, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons, and we don't show carbon hydrogen bond, so I'm just drawing these here. So if you count them, they are going to be 14 hydrogens. So this is the first form of drawing this structure. So you can draw the C6H14 even like this. You're putting the second other carbon in the middle here. Or you can draw it like this. You're putting the carbon on the second carbon here. So if you label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 5 carbons, and the sixth carbon is coming on the third carbon. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the sixth carbon is coming on the second carbon. So these are different ways of drawing the skeletal structure or the isomers. When you actually name them, they are going to have different names. This is gonna have like a 3-methyl pentane. This one will have a 2-methyl. Don't worry, we'll get into IUPAC naming in our next topic. So right now I'm just trying to give you like, hey, they are different things. Once you learn naming, these are going to be much more easier. This is just called a hexane. So it's just gonna get easier. Now, if you look at the functional isomers is regarding the functional groups. That will be part of the next topic where we are going to learn more about functional groups. Now, let's take C2H6O. So this can be drawn like this with the OH at the end, or the oxygen can go between 2 carbons. So these are 2 different ways of drawing the structure for the molecular formula C2H6O. Now, if you name them, this is an alcohol group with the OH at the end, while this one is an ether. So the functional groups change. That's why they're called functional isomers. Now let's look at the positional isomers. Positional isomers are kind of subclass of functional isomers because you're actually like moving the functional groups around. Like if you take C4H10O, I'm drawing again, like a bond line structure because that is much more easier to me. Believe me, you guys find it easier as you get more into organic chemistry. Here I have the OH on this carbon right here. But in the next one, I have the OH right here. So this is here on the second carbon, here is on the first carbon. So that's why these are called positional isomers. We are not changing the group, but we are changing the carbon. That's why they are called positional isomers. And believe all of these 3 fall under the class of constitutional isomers. So this is where we are ending our chapter 1 with structure and bonding. In the next chapter, I'm going to discuss about how to do IUPAC naming and also a little bit about the conformational isomers. Thank you.